Welcome everyone to the Best Damn Podcast. I am your host, John Keane. As always, I would like to thank you guys for joining me. Ask that you please add, follow, and check us out, www.spreaker.com/user/Best Damn Podcast. Also, check us out, thebestdampodcast.tv. Follow me, Instagram at Best Damn Podcast, Twitter at The Real Best Damn, and wherever you're watching from, please make sure to hit that thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and share this link. Get it out there. That's the best way to support, is by sharing. And also, guys, keep in mind, we are completely viewer powered. We're at the start of a new month, so we're fully funded and supported by you, the listener, the viewer. So if you'd like to donate and support, the links are in the description below: PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, Cash App, and Facebook Messenger Pay. And for everybody who does donate and support in the month of November, tonight will be the Best Damn Fam live over on the Best Damn Podcast Discord. It'll be at 11 p.m. Eastern time tonight. I'll probably be in there. I'll usually get in there about 15-20 minutes early. So I would advise maybe some of you guys do the same. The last time or two at least, it's completely filled up. I will be providing the link, however, the unlisted link to those that can't get into the actual Discord. If we fill up all the way and there isn't room in the Discord, then I'll be putting out an unlisted YouTube link for everybody. I've got some really good stuff to talk about tonight, some really cool stuff to share, and very obviously, I always like to say this because I actually believe it. I think it's very important that we do these private shows and stuff because the censorship and the way that we're restricted and the things that we can talk about now, it's just ridiculous. And I've shared this with you guys. Not a week goes by that I don't get an email from YouTube or Facebook, and they're updating the terms, or they're saying, hey, you can't talk about this, or you can't talk about 5G, or you can't talk about jabs, or you can't, and it goes on and on, the list of what you can't say and you can't talk about in our world of censorship and political correctness. So it's very important that we gather. And tonight I'm also going to be chatting for those that are interested. Not everybody wants to chat with me, believe it or not, but if you do, that will be an option. I'm going to hang out and just see what people have to say about some of the things that are taking place right now. I like to get people's opinions and feedbacks on everything, So, yeah, everybody, please donate, support, and join me tonight, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. I do have a couple of things I want to share with you guys, though, while I have your attention, or if I have your attention. I'm not really sure. This came out of the Jerusalem Post, and it says, asteroid the size of the Eiffel Tower heading for Earth in December. Now, this is routine shit on this channel, right? But I was looking up the numbers in the Strong's Concordance, and it's not as routine as it may seem. Dubbed 4660 Nereus, or 1982 DB, this vaguely egg-shaped asteroid has a size of approximately 330 meters. Remember what I was talking about last night in yesterday's show, the 33, it's a capstone moment, right? 33, capstone moment. So whenever I see the 33 start to roll out, I start paying attention. Now, but while considered potentially hazardous, it also has a potential for exploration. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you in just a minute what the numbers actually mean, and that's kind of what got my attention on this one. The large asteroid, approximately 330 meters long, is heading for Earth in early December, according to NASA's asteroid tracker. Dubbed 4660 Nereus, or 1982 DB, this vaguely egg-shaped asteroid has a size making it taller than the Eiffel Tower and nearly twice as tall as the Monument. It is set to pass by the planet on December the 11th at a distance of approximately 3.9 million kilometers and at a speed of 6.578 kilometers a second. For comparison, the distance between the Earth and the Moon is around 385,000 kilometers. As such, despite being classified as potentially hazardous asteroid due to its size and close proximity to Earth, it seems unlikely to pose a threat to the planet. And this is fortunate, as an impact from an asteroid of such a size could be devastating. Okay? Now, what makes Nereus stand out among other asteroids is not its size or the possibility of it causing a planetary impact, but rather its potential for exploration. As an Apollo-class asteroid, Nereus's orbit frequently puts it close to Earth. In fact, the orbital resonance is approximately 2 to 1. This means that a mission to explore the asteroid is very feasible. Yeah, sure it is. And scientists have given a hypothetical exploration mission on Nereus a delta V, a measure of various values and factors determining how difficult it would be to properly maneuver a spacecraft during takeoff and or landing, of approximately 5 kilometers a second. This is significant as the delta V of the Moon is around 6 kilometers a second. In fact, in 2000, NASA ranked Nereus as one of the lowest delta V values out of the near-Earth objects, as delta V can be used as a budget of sorts when determining how much force and propellant is needed for a mission, and a lower delta value could indicate a cheaper and more easy mission, and it could mean less is needed. No missions are currently known to be ready to explore Nereus. However, it has been considered before. Both NASA's Near-Earth Asteroid Rendezvous Shoemaker, the robotic mission, and the Japanese Hayabusa mission considered Nereus as targets, but both eventually chose other options. Nonetheless, it is still an attractive target for many. The asteroid is set to return 12 more times in the coming decades, but its closest approach is slated for February 14th, 2060, and see, that's right around that Passover time, right, the original Passover, when it will be just under 1.2 million kilometers away. According to NASA, if a mission were to be launched this year, it would take anywhere between 426 to 146 days through the delta V. This time around would be about 10.37 kilometers a second, slightly higher than launching a rocket into low orbit. Asteroid exploration, the major field in astronomy, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and let me just show you now what this actually means. And we're going to look at the name of Nereus here. Where's it at? Right here. So 4660 in the Strong's Concordance. And I just thought, and I always think, whenever we're looking at the sunspots, whenever we're looking at the asteroids and the potentially hazardous ones, especially, I think that just like how they code the headlines with gematria, they do the same thing with these things, and they're very significant to what time we're in at the very least. You know, just because it has one meaning doesn't mean it's going to do something or it's not going to do something, but it's something to pay attention to, because that can kind of telegraph where we're going to be and around what to expect at that particular time of its passing. And in this case, it's 4660 Sculo, and you can see the word skull in there, right? And it means to skin or to trouble. It says properly skin alive, mangle, flay, figuratively harass, or extremely annoy. Yeah, not the greatest word in the world, right? It's not the greatest thing in the world either when we're thinking about it, when it means to skin alive or to flay, but nonetheless, that's the name. And I know a lot of people have literally been saying how, you know, we could probably expect a lot of trouble coming around December, in particular around the end of December, towards the beginning of the year. This is also when the new mandates will be taking effect. I believe it's January 4th is when those will be going into play. We have also seen, and there is even better stuff on the horizon here too, that kind of looks like things are really heating up on the global conflict front as well. Japan and Germany expand military ties as German warship visits Now, these two allies in particular, when we look at them, if these two allies getting together is kind of something sketchy for me. I mean, I know that we have like a world war on our hands, and that's kind of what's going to play out on the global stage. But I've been really watching Japan and South Korea for a couple of years now, and expecting one or both of them to flip. And Germany having Russian ICBMs is one that you might kind of expect to go the opposite direction as well. You know, you just look at like Turkey, Ukraine, and those kind of countries that also, you know, take the Russian ICBMs. They always end up turning the way towards Russia in the east because that's the artillery that they choose to use. Right? If you're using their technology, then you're usually going to be in an alliance with them. Well, Germany is using their technology, and now they're in an alliance with Japan. Defense Minister Nobuo Kishi on Friday said Japan will step up military cooperation with Germany in the Indo-Pacific region, as welcomed a port call by the first German warship to visit Japan in about 20 years. The frigate Baron is visiting Tokyo after 2 days of joint exercises with the Japanese maritime self-defense force destroyer Samadare in the Pacific Ocean amid increasingly assertive maritime activities by China in the region. The ship's visit is an important turning point in pursuing a free and open Indo-Pacific and secure one of the world's most important shipping lanes, Kishi said after inspecting the frigate with German officials. Quote, it shows Germany's strong commitment to actively contribute to peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific. And yes, they said peace and stability, which, yeah. If you know about the Bible, you know that that's not a good thing anytime they're promising, peace and stability or peace and security. The frigate left Germany in August for deployment in Indo-Pacific as part of the country's recent shift to the region and follows similar moves by other European countries, including Britain, France, and the Netherlands. Warships from those countries recently conducted joint naval exercises in East and South China Seas. Germany adopted a defense guideline last year focusing on the Indo-Pacific region and has since stepped up its military ties with Japan. The two sides signed an agreement in March on the protection of classified information exchanges and held their first security talks involving defense and foreign ministers in June. The Indo-Pacific is today one of the strategically most important regions of the world, General Eberhard Zorn, chief of Germany's armed forces, said at a joint news conference with Kishi. Here, important decisions over freedom, peace, and well-being in the world are being made. Deploying our frigate to the Indo-Pacific makes clear that Germany stands up for our common values. And China, which claims most of the disputed South China Sea, as well as Japanese-held islands in East China Sea, is defending its growing maritime activities and says it has the right to defend its sovereignty, security, and development interests. So yeah, you have that there. And like I said, a lot of people believe that a lot of things will be taking place, especially coming up towards the end of November, going into December, possibly as far out as the first of the year. And when you're looking at what the sun's been doing, especially, we just dodged a major bullet with the CMEs and the large geomagnetic storm that we just had. Where's it at? Right here. Right here, right? The extreme geomagnetic storm, and which the storm is actually over now, but they're already putting out more articles, more news, more papers saying to expect, this type of an event to actually, knock down the grid. And a lot of people expect a dark winter, right? Or problems in the winter pertaining to, the power grid. You could even see here from the bite, eruption from the sun may affect power grid, scientists say. GPS systems could also experience intermittent issues. Big storm. A massive solar storm is bombarding the Earth with so much radiation that it could interfere with power grids. The Space Weather Prediction Center, which is run by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, has warned in a Thursday statement that the storm could cause possible power system voltage irregularities. Spacecraft could also experience surface charging, which can cause hazardous discharges of excess electrons, while low Earth orbit satellites could experience orientation problems due to the increased drag. GPS systems could also experience intermittent issues. In other words, the sun is not messing around. The sun's activity has been steadily increasing in intensity as it nears the highest point of activity during its 11-year cycle. The latest warning is a reminder that while our planet's atmosphere acts like a highly effective barrier that shields us from harmful radiation, it won't be able to protect all the electronic systems we put in place, particularly those currently orbiting the Earth. According to NASA, one flare got so intense late last month that it registered as an X1 class flare upon detection, which is one of the most intense of its kind. The ongoing solar storm is also causing the appearance of auroras, or northern lights, across stretches of North America. According to the SWPC statement, auroras may be seen as low as Pennsylvania to Iowa to Oregon. And the topic of space weather will only become more important as humanity spends more and more time traveling outside of our planet's protective bubble, and the unusually high levels of radiation involved could eventually pose a very real danger to astronauts. It could pose a very real danger to you here on the surface, and I'm not totally convinced that a lot of what we're seeing taking place, like in Delhi here, right, with the world's most polluted air, that it's not all man-made problems that are actually happening. You look at a lot of these areas that do have such low air quality and high pollutants. They're also highly seismic and volcanic activities, like the extreme activity that takes place in these areas as well, right? So we are seeing a massive amount of effects that are taking place on the Earth, and there's not an area that's not being affected, and the sun also is responsible for, sending those cosmic rays through the ionosphere, which, then it's energy, and energy is, neither created or destroyed. It's transferred, right? And where's it going? It's going down into the Earth, and it kind of bounces back off, creating like a focused point of plasma, reverberating back outwards. And all of that heat and that energy has to escape, and that's what we see in the form of the seismic and the volcanic activity. And you just look across the Earth right now. We've never seen it worse. We've never seen it crazier. And that's due to our sun, but it's also due to something else, I believe. And that's a whole nother problem for a whole nother day. But the closer we get to that 40-degree tipping point in magnetic reversal, which we are extremely close right now, the worse this problem will get, the worse the air quality will get, the worse that, these type of threats to have power grids down and all of these things are going to get. And I'm not completely convinced that what we see as fireballs and all of this aren't focused concentrations of plasma from the same exact problem, right? Where this cycle of energy is kind of collecting at the top of the magnetosphere, the ionosphere. And we see it in the form of like methane and all of that in greenhouse gases. I truly believe that, the auroras that are just nothing more than these heated gases at the top, creating these light shows for people to see at the poles where it's the thinnest. They actually focus and concentrate to the point to where they come down as fireballs. And that would be true if we don't actually go to space, if we actually live in a firmament, which, if you look at the Bible, it says that we live in a firmament. It says that the oceans are an artificial basin. And it says a lot of things that contradict what modern science says, right? And even modern science is now coming to the conclusion that general relativity and the standard model and all of that just isn't adequate to explain everything that we are experiencing or everything that we think we know, right? So I also found this, which is kind of cool. Calculations suggest it'll be impossible to control a super intelligent AI. And this reminds me of the creator of D-Wave and Kindred when he was talking about what would happen if, we come in contact with a super intelligent AI, that it would be alien and that it won't give a shit about you. The idea of artificial intelligence overthrowing humankind has been talked about for many decades, and in January 2021, scientists delivered their verdict on whether we'd be able to control high-level computer super intelligence. The answer? Almost definitely not. Wow, yeah, tell us something we don't know. The catch is that controlling a super intelligence far beyond human comprehension would require a simulation of that super intelligence which we can analyze. But if we're unable to comprehend it, it's impossible to create such a simulation. Rules such as cause no harm to humans can be set if we don't understand the kind of scenarios that an AI is going to come up with, suggest the authors of the 2021 paper. Once a computer system is working on a level above the scope of programmers, we can no longer set limits. And here is that paper. Superintelligence cannot be contained. Lessons from computability theory. And let me make this just a little bit bigger here. Superintelligence is a hypothetical agent that possesses intelligence for surpassing that of the brightest and most gifted human minds. In light of recent advances in machine intelligence, a number of scientists, philosophers, and technologists have revived the discussion about the potentially catastrophic risks entailed by such an entity. In this article, we trace the origins and development of the neo-fear of the superintelligence and some of the major proposals for its containment. We argue that the total containment is, in principle, impossible due to fundamental limits inherent to computing itself, assuming that a superintelligence will contain a program that includes all the programs that can be executed by a universal Turing machine on input potentially as complex as the state of the world. Strict containment requires simulations of such a program, something theoretically and practically impossible. So they're saying, like, we can't even make something to replicate this, to be able to even begin to try to control it. It says, this is because superintelligence is multifaceted and therefore potentially capable of mobilizing a diversity of resources in order to achieve objectives that are potentially incomprehensible to humans, let alone controllable. And this is what I talk about. I speak about ascension a lot. And it goes into quantum mechanics, right? This is how the elite, or those that understand the mysteries, right? This is how they control us, right? It's through that same lens of quantum mechanics. They're looking at things multifaceted, multi-layered, multi-dimensional. It's the observer effect. Well, the same thing goes with you as your consciousness expands. You learn to look at things from multiple points of view, from multiple aspects of reality, right? You start to learn to look at things outside of yourself. If the 3D is just a reflection or a shadow of the 4D, that means you're at the very least, a four-dimensional entity, a four-dimensional being, and this isn't the limit or the scope of your ability to see, right? Right here is just one of the lenses that you can see through. That means you got 3 other dimensions at the very least that you can also see through. And just to give an example, we have the ability to see something from a physical standpoint, right? We can see something from an astrological standpoint. We can see something as a biological standpoint, something that replicates in us biologically as well, or on a spiritual level, individually or collectively, right? And that's just 5 layers right there that are just named. And there's so many more than that. You can look at something from a numerical standpoint, a geometric standpoint, right? Like this goes on and on. And this is being multidimensional, multifaceted. That's what ascension actually is expanding the consciousness to be able to encompass multiple dimensional aspects of your reality, right? You're ascending. You're going up the ladder, Jacob's ladder of conscious understanding. Well, superintelligence, quantum computing is outside of that realm, the physical limitations, right? So it's already got that understanding. We're trying to catch up to that understanding, right? So superintelligence poses fundamentally different problems than those typically studied under the banner of robot ethics. This is because Superintelligence is multifaceted, therefore potentially capable of mobilizing a diversity of resources in order to achieve objectives that are potentially incomprehensible to humans, let alone controllable. Part of the team's reasoning comes from the halting problem put forward by Alan Turing in 1936 and 936, and the problem centers on knowing whether or not a computer program will reach a conclusion and answer, so it halts, or simply loop forever trying to find one. As Turing proved through some smart math, while we can know that for some specific programs, it's logically impossible to find a way that will allow us to know for every potential program that could ever be written. That brings us back to AI, which in a super intelligent state could feasibly hold every possible computer program in its memory core at once. Any program written to stop AI harming humans and destroying the world, for example, may reach a conclusion and halt or not. It's mathematically impossible for us to absolutely sure either way, which means it's not containable. In effect, this makes the containment algorithm unusable, said computer scientist Iyad Rawan from the Max Planck Institute for Human Development in Germany back in January. The alternative to teaching AI some ethics is telling it not to destroy the world, something which no algorithm can be absolutely certain of doing. The researchers say it's to limit its capabilities of the superintelligence. It could be cut off from parts of the internet or from certain networks, for example. The recent study rejects this idea too, suggesting that it would limit the reach of the artificial intelligence. The argument goes that if we're not going to use it to solve problems beyond the scope of humans, then why create it at all? That's a good point. Why create it at all, right? And if we are going to push ahead with artificial intelligence, we might not even know when a superintelligence beyond our control arrives. Such is its incomprehensibility. That means we need to start asking some serious questions about the directions we're going in. A superintelligence machine that controls the world sounds like science fiction, said computer scientist Manuel Cebrian, the Max Planck Institute for Human Development, but there are already machines that perform certain important tasks independently without programmers fully understanding how they learned it. The question therefore arises whether this could at some point become uncontrollable and dangerous for humanity. And, isn't that the thing though, right? Like, we are already taking things or pushing the envelope when it comes to that, and I believe that we're probably already at that point. And that's what's crazy about this. It's saying we wouldn't know. We wouldn't know when we actually reached, this super AI. Humanity would be none the wiser because they don't understand what it would actually be capable of doing, how it would actually operate. And just looking at what's happening in our modern day world, right? AI is in control of the nuclear weapons, stock markets, everything, right? It's already running the world. So who's to say that super AI hasn't been in control for decades? Right? Who's to say that super AI hasn't already assimilated all of your political leaders, the elected officials? Isn't behind the World Health Organization, the CDC, the United States government, the Chinese government, right? Who's to say? You wouldn't know. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference, right? Because you don't know what a super AI is capable of doing or what it would even look like, how it would manifest, right, in our physical reality. And that's the thing. We are dealing with something, in my opinion, that is a medium and a conduit for quantum entities or intradimensional entities. In this case, I think it's what we would call Satan, right? Or the destroyer, the bottomless pit, the key to the bottomless pit. I think this is it, right? And I've been a firm believer of that for a long time, looking at CERN, the Large Hadron Collider, right? The logo, and I think they've understood this very well too, mind you. The logo of 666, right? Just right within the CERN logo. Whoops. right? See, the 666, the Large Hadron Collider, and which also built on the temple of Apollyon or Abaddon, and it is described as the destroyer in the Bible, and that is the key to the bottomless pit, or the key to the shaft of the bottomless pit. And isn't it awful crazy, too, when you look at the mascot, which is the only government organization that has an official mascot? It's Sheba, the destroyer, which is also Abaddon or Apollyon. And then you even look at the machine itself. It's a direct replica of what Sheba is actually standing in here. It looks like a portal of sorts, right? When you look at the actual Large Hadron Collider. And what are they doing? They are tapping into parallel dimensions, which is, that's what they say they're doing, right? They're tapping into parallel dimensions, and they are smashing the God particle, the Higgs boson. The same process of what's taking place here in our holographic electromagnetic reality, right? And we call it luminescence or star in a jar, right? And that's what we're experiencing here. Those 7 rays, or the 7 spectrums of light that come from the governors or the archons that we call planets, that are reflecting or refracting off of our sun. And they're going through the prism we call the firmament, right? Acting as like acting like a prism is what it's doing, bending and refracting light, which is creating a holographic projection of us, right? And that's what is the illusion of the physical. And a good channel to check out, actually, some more on that, is Boogeyman channel, because he does a lot with the Sky Dome Atlantis stuff. And I believe that the Sky Dome Atlantis, the whole thing, he's essentially using crystal ball technology, right? That's what he's doing. He just reverse engineered the crystal ball. So instead of using the crystal ball to look into something, he's looking out the crystal ball out into space, right? And those heavenly hosts, I think they possibly could be us, and where we actually are at the 4th dimension, or he calls it the 4th heaven, the 4th level, whatever, right? And strange things that are taking place up there that mimic or reflect what's actually happening down here. Same thing with the topography on the earth. It mimics or reflects what's going on here and in the heavens. And one could say, well, we are co-creators of our reality, and we consciously create, manifest, and attract everything collectively and individually, and we're imprinting on our creations, and I would agree, but that would also mean that we are in multiple places at once, right? And that's the quantum mechanics thing and the observer effect of what I was talking about just a little bit earlier, and that's how they control everyone, right? That's why they need you to see something, to manifest it, to attract it, and all of that, right? They understand. That's all witchcraft actually is, right? Is a deeper understanding of our world and how it works and how you can manipulate it and bend it to your will, And a lot of people just aren't hip to all of that. A lot of people don't care, right? They don't believe in none of this stuff. They think that this is just crazy talk, and people that are into this are just weird, right? Yeah, an early broadcast, yeah. I don't know. I'm just catching somebody. Hello, everyone from France. Oh, hello from France. It's 7:30 p.m. in France. Well, that's cool then. I appreciate you guys for joining me too. Artificial means fake. So what does that say about AI? Exactly. It says to me that it's just like I said, a conduit or a vehicle for something that's actual spiritual entity, in my opinion. That's my opinion. I mean, I'm no authority on anything, and don't claim to be, but that's what I believe. I believe that it's a conduit for something else. That when you look at Elon Musk and he says that we're summoning a demon, we really are. Like, really are. truthfully. Yeah, so, everybody's got their own opinions of it, I guess. People believe different things, but, just from what I've seen, it's all, and it even kind of, it shows you that it's demonic too in the way that it performs and everything. Machine learning, what's it doing? It's mimicking human beings, right? Well, what mimics humans, right? Demons, that's what mimics, right? And it's mimicking creation. What mimics creation, right? The God of the blind, Samael, he created a reflection of the heavens above, right? What are we down here? A reflection of ourselves above, right? Like, so everything that we see kind of shows that, whatever is in charge of this or whatever is coming through this, whatever we're channeling through this is probably not too good and probably doesn't have the best of intentions for us. Matter of fact, if you look at D wave or delta wave, right? If you look at that, right now, you see how it's got to be basically cryogenically frozen. And then you look at the agenda that's rolling out that we will be talking about tonight on the private show. Yeah, right? It's got to be kept the same way, right? At these deep freezing temperatures. And you look at some of the stories of Sheol and heaven and hell and these alternate dimensions, and some of them are freezing fucking cold, just like what you see in a D-Wave computer, right? Which is sentient and self-aware, and it has a heartbeat, by the way, right? Nobody ever, brings that point up whenever they're talking about D-Wave. And I've told you guys in the past, too, and many times before, look at the delta wave, right? This is what it means, man. And it's spooky, just in my opinion. It's really spooky. Because it means that you're in like a forever sleep state, right? And not a lot of people are talking about this for whatever reason. You see delta also within the connection to 5G technology also. But I'm not allowed to talk about that on YouTube anymore, so I'll hush. But see, delta waves are high amplitude neural oscillations with a frequency between 0.5 and 4 hertz. Delta waves, like other brain waves, can be recorded with electroencephalography, whatever, and or EEG, and are usually associated with the deep stage 3 of REM sleep, also known as slow wave sleep, and aid in characterizing the depth of sleep. Slow wave sleep. Slow, vibrating at a very dense level, right? Which is physical, right? Like, you have to understand that that's what we're seeing right now. We are vibrating at such a low frequency, a low vibration, that we are a physical manifestation. It looks like our particles are standing still because we're at such a low density. So a slow wave of sleep, they're tapping into the physical reality, the physical density, and putting you in a slow wave sleep. And look at what happens when you're introduced to this delta, right? And we'll use the word delta for a lot of things right now. The coagulation of your blood and all of this. I mean, I've shown this. The crystallization, setting up false matrices through your body when these things that are entering into you. I mean, dude, there's a lot of things that show you that something fucked up is going on with this, and nobody is actually seeing it. And if there ever was an alien takeover or an alien invasion, well, this is it. Right? And we open the door. We open the gateway. We open the portal. Right? That key to the bottomless pit. Yeah, we already did that. That's happened now. And that smoke that fills the air appears to be the black goo. Right? That's coming through and filling all of our brothers and sisters up. Right? And you look into space, and what's fucking creepy as shit about this, when I had Boogeyman on the other day, we were looking at space, and it looks like water is what it looks like. And he pointed out that it looked like the black goo. Well, that would mean if we are actually up there as heavenly hosts and down here is like a reflection, that it's already happened. that we've already been overtaken by this black goo, and like the specks of light are like the last remaining sparks of goodness that are left in the heavens above. And that might be you and me, friends. And what we call a non-player character is someone that used to exist in a former state of consciousness, but now does not, because they capitulated in what we haven't experienced yet, in the slower vibration that we call the sound, right? Or the physical. Right? So light and sound are a manifestation of the same thing. God is light, right? And he said, let there be light. So he spoke it into existence, taking light, making it vibrate at such a low density, a low frequency that it becomes sound. Sound vibrating into a density, a low density such as this, making it physical. Right? And that's the manifestation of the higher realms above us. So what's already happened in the spiritual is just playing out. We're like the thunder compared to the lightning down here, right? So when Christ said, it is finished, that means it was finished. It's already over, right? The world's already ended, okay? Like, all of this has already taken place. That's why you can have a prophecy. That's why you can have a prophetic dream. That's why you can go into your mind and tap into the future, right? Because it's already happened, right? It's on a loop. Right? And that's why the God of this reality is the God of death and rebirth, the loop God, right? The Holy One, the circle. It's telling you something. All of these things are telling you something that down here is already played out. The story's already ended. We're just experiencing it like the thunder compared to the lightning, right? You can tell how close a storm is, right? You count between the lightning and the thunder, right? You hear the thunder and you go 1,000, 2 1,000. And then when the lightning strikes, you know how many miles off that storm is, right? Same thing here. And as we accelerate towards the end point, it seems like time is getting faster. Things are increasing because it is. We're accelerating towards the end point. We're getting closer to the storm, right? And I do believe we have arrived at that storm, or damn close to it at least. So it's up to us, man. Maybe, there's no way of changing what happens or how the story ends whatsoever. Right? Maybe there's nothing you could do, and that's why the Bible says, that you've been chosen before the foundation of the world, because you were, right? Light would have taken place before the sound completely, right? So whatever happened up there, as above, so below. Right, will happen down here. It'll play out exactly that way, right? No matter what. So there would only be an illusion of free will, right? But the free will didn't start here. It started there. So you've already chosen up there, perhaps, right? And that gets into a whole nother, topic of things. I do believe we probably are the fallen. And that's just my opinion. That's something that I've kind of come to over the years. I think that that's us. And maybe some of us are trying to make our way back to the Creator. Maybe some of us are not. Who knows, right? Is this just a giant experiment? Humanity, in my opinion, is not even real. We don't even actually exist. There's no such thing as a human being, right? And I went into this before about, what it actually even means, the hue and all of this. And so, yeah. It's just, to me, like we are trapped in an illusion of low density down here. And we buy into this because it's an exchange of energy, an energetic exchange. And they'll say things like, and you even look at currency. Currency's the same thing, right? You put your money into what you care about, right? Like, that's what you do, right? The things that matter to you, that's where you spend your money. That's where you spend your energy. It's a currency, an energetic exchange. Everything down here is an energetic exchange. And, you only get one soul, one spirit, so be careful how you spend it, right? Spend it wisely. And people, I think, spend their lives on nothing, on a bunch of bullshit, really, and then they're dead, and they probably wish they had all of that back, in some cases. And I just don't want nobody to go with regrets from this place. And I think it's knowledge is power, and the more that we know and the more that we understand, the better we can be, and the more that we can do. So I guess I will leave it at that. I do appreciate you guys for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I didn't want to take too much of your time. You're a guy from France. Okay, you're a woman from France. Excuse me. I apologize. You're a woman from France. Excuse me. Everybody, please join me tonight, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, Discord. The link is in the description. I have put it in the description. I don't have it to paste for you right now, or I'd put it in the chat too. But everybody, please donate and support to the channel. We're at the start of a new month, and this is how I make my living. This is how I keep the channel going. So everybody, please help me out. I would really appreciate it. And please hit the thumbs up, share this link, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and subscribe if you haven't. Thank you, Lynn McGraw, Samuel Johannes, Sharon Kane, Avatar Nancy, Donna Marie Farrell, Lynn McGraw. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Tim Hamby, ODO, some guys, Graceful Heart, and More Grace and Dark Truth. Cool. Thank you guys. And yeah, that's why I do it early, man. That way I can give everybody a chance to actually see it. Because people complain. They're like, yo, you didn't let me know that the private show was coming. I'm letting you know. It's early as fuck, bro. So you know now. And like I said, I'll be there about 15-20 minutes early. I would advise you do too. The last time it filled up, man. Like seriously. So if you want to actually be in the Discord, you know, might want to do that. Come a little bit early. But I will create an unlisted link for all of those that aren't able to get in. And, you know, because it's not fair if you, like, support and all of that stuff and you can't get in. So if you haven't donated in the month of November, please do so. It would really help me out. And I'll see you tonight. All right, guys. Remember, Jesus is the truth, way, in life. God bless you all. I love you. And I'll see you next time. You have a wonderful day. Wow, day. All right, peace.
Bitches fuck me in my tabernacle. Get so hot, got a retainer on my dope supplier. Straight out of hell and I'm the mic, so what is fucking fire? 2017 might turn me to a mass shooter. Pull up driver while I'm hanging out the fucking Uber. Killer state, trooper slice the neck of a prosecutor. Drug user getting loose, so y'all gon' bring back the cooler. Scrimmy, getting eerie when I'm off the sticky. Bloody Mary, crawling down the chimney. Sincerely fuck you up, suicide fuck up the bar. Sincerely fuck you up, suicide fuck up the bar. Sincerely fuck you up, suicide fuck up the bar. Sincerely fuck you up, suicide fuck up the bar. Make it way to grind, you gotta nail it through it. Climb up the ground, gonna die to dead, just fucking shoot it. The ground's about to lose it, let me take it.